All right. Happy Thursday, Throwback Thursday, whatever you want to call it. This is your boy, the controversial counselor, live in the counselor's corner. And tonight's topic is going to be it's never too soon to talk about retirement. And I'm not ready to retire yet, unfortunately. I guess if they would transfer years of service over from state to state, I would have about 5 more years of work, then I could retire. And I mean, I could walk away in the sunset at 53 and do what I need to do. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But they need to change the narrative on that and consider it. Meredith Hickerson, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. But before we get on to this topic, we're gonna just give you a couple housekeeping things. The call-in feature hasn't started yet. Well, that's obvious. I didn't give out any numbers. Richard Green, thanks for joining. Yessie Gonzalez, thanks for joining. I didn't give out any numbers because there's a part like a dongle that I needed to order, if you're familiar with that. And it was some mess up with the order that it was never placed. So I just got an email this morning saying that as far as tracking, so it should be here on Monday. So I'm thinking probably midweek that call-in feature should be working, because we're going to need it, because you know what the series is coming up. Remember how I did the zodiac sign for men? Well, now it's time to take a look at the women's zodiac sign and kind of figure what the hell is wrong with some of you ladies and why y'all behave the way y'all do. But I'm not going to focus on that right now. Hey, Marcia, how you doing? Thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. Also, well, I hope everybody, especially who's been getting hit with that crazy weather. I know back home, my people's in Niagara Falls, Buffalo, them kids is loving it. No school, been out of school, what, tomorrow make like 3 days. So they're probably not used to that. It has to be bad for them to miss school. We get an inch and it's 32 degrees or less and it freezes up a little bit, a little slush, then we're out of school. But, you know, just stay safe out there. Be careful, be mindful. It's not what you can do on the road. Sometimes it's other folks. So just be careful while you're out there driving, and just take your time, or leave early and take your time to get wherever you got to get, because you only got one life and all it takes is a split second for your whole life to turn around. But there's going to be a major storm in Baltimore. A major, might shut down the city. And that's coming up next Saturday on February 9th. Hey, Daphne, how you doing? Thanks for joining me tonight. Next Saturday at 2 p.m., and they already named the storm. It's going to be called Thunderous Altercations. So that's my new show with Kelly Renee Adams, Thunderous Altercations. We'll be doing a live media broadcast, TV, YouTube, all that good stuff at the Tierra Cafe at 2 p.m. So all my local Baltimore peeps, come through and be a part of the live audience. All right, who else we got here? April Harrison, thanks for joining. Nika, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So that's Thunderous Altercations. And I think the topic is going to be right on time. Valentine's Day. Whatever the hell that is, Valentine. And that's the thing. All y'all people out there can't wait till Valentine's Day. Don't even know who the hell Valentine is. I only know one Valentine, and he was a former student of mine. And trust me, they would not name any day in his recognition. So that's the only Valentine I know, and I'm damn sure ain't celebrating it on his behalf. So that's coming up. I'm sure it's going to be a hot topic going back and forth because some of y'all, okay, I always going to give a disclaimer. Yeah, I know I cuss on here once in a while. Some of y'all asses is too grown to be expecting major gifts on Valentine's Day. I'm not giving no Valentine's gift away. I don't care if I was married and I was with somebody for 25, 30 years, because right now I'm stuffing envelopes in that 100 envelope challenge. And right now I've probably stuffed like 9 envelopes. Well, today is the last day of January. Not to put anybody in my figures, but it just shows you that it works because I cut back and I've been more conscious of what I've been purchasing. So for me, this was a good challenge, and I'm pretty much saved like $415 in the month of January just by stuffing envelopes. So can't wait to see what February is going to bring. I might even hit the 1,000 mark, but it's just easy when you say, should I get this? Nah, I still got a $68 envelope that I need to put money in. So that's been my thing. So I'm still pushing forward with that. Daphne said it's made up. Hell yeah, it's made up. Catherine Davis, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So those are some of the things that I wanted to kind of bring up. And like I said, Thunderous Altercations next Saturday at 2 p.m. at the Tierra Cafe. It'll be brought to you by WBP Media Networks. So I look forward to that. It's just another elevation to me growing as an author, radio host, talk show, and even just, being in the Counselor's Corner going live. This is something like, I had to push myself and challenge myself. Anne Marie, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So tonight's topic, it's never too soon to talk about retirement. And like my introduction said, I got years to go, but it's something I definitely, think about. I work with one of my counterparts. I've been working with him closely for like 6 years. Actually, next year he's retiring. I think he said he'll be about 53. And I'm like, man, wow, that's good. Because he came out and started teaching, as soon as he got out of pretty much college. So he's put in his 30 years of service and he's ready to retire at 52, 53. That's a good age, man. That's perfect. And so, it makes me think, but I got years because I transferred from another state and they don't count those years toward retirement. They count it towards like steps, increment, like my pay, but don't count it towards retirement. But I think it's something that's very important that we need to look at. If you were thinking tonight's show, like I was going to give you the blueprint of, or if you save 7% of your income, you'll get this and that. This isn't the show for you. And I apologize. Hopefully I didn't mislead you. And you were looking forward to it. No, I'm not no Dave Ramsey, the financial guru. I just think with my platform, I like to bring people together and I like us to converse about stuff that's real and near and dear to us. And nobody is getting any younger. And the ironic thing is you have all these young people, they quick. I don't want to say that. But yeah, I'm going to say it. I don't never recall with somebody being, older and wiser, the disrespect that you get for these younger people calling us old heads and this and that, as if time stands still for them. Like before they know it, they'll be at this age. And they better damn sure hope they got a game plan, because if you don't, it could be your latter years in life could be not where you want it to be if you hit that retirement age and you don't have, and you're dependent on Social Security and you don't really have a pension because you done hop from job to job. That shit could be miserable. And I think a lot of times, many people when they retire, if they don't have a plan or something else going on, not too long after that, that's it. They're gone. Goodbye, croak. Can't be me. I have to start thinking of a master plan and keep pushing forward because I'm not ready. I got way too much stuff to do. So Daphne said I worked during the summer for Erie BOCES to boost my retirement because they have the same retirement plan as Buffalo Public Schools. And that's good. And you're thinking. And that's what the type of things that I wanted to kind of talk about or bring this to the platform, because we have to start thinking. I mean, seriously, I've seen a lot of people. I know a lot of old people. They don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of. They get to an older age. They're struggling, and then it's time for funeral stuff. They never had a insurance policy or anything, and that's one of the things that kind of keeps us, and I'm going to be real and transport, that keeps us blacks where we at, because we don't invest in like life insurance policies and things of that nature. So I would think that with life insurance and stuff, ultimately you want to relieve your family of financial burdens, and also you want to be able to leave them something so that they can be able to start and enjoy your fruits of labor, or whatever the case is, a little something to get started with. Nisi Travis, thanks for joining me tonight. Shamir, what's going on? Thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. Daphne said also do a stash. It's only 10 weekly, but a little makes much. Little things lead to big things. If you do it consistently and you don't touch it and you don't bother it, that it grows. And that's why I was trying. Thanks to my brother Dietrich for putting me on to the $100 envelope challenge. Is just something, because a lot of times you have money in your bank or your savings and you're so quick to spend it, or you get into a jam. But right now, to be honest, I haven't even thought about this money because I don't see it. It's not on my card that I swipe it, and then I don't know that what's accounted for, because that money is in somewhere in a money bag put up, and I'm dedicated to making this grow. Also, I'm really not, like me and one of my buddies, J. Rob, at work talk about, I don't know if he'll be on here later, but this banking thing and this Trump and his Russian things, and I ain't trying to believe in like conspiracies and all that, but I don't trust the banking in America. They come up with a lot of crap with your money, and I just can't have nobody dictating every dollar that I have, or they decide they want to freeze your account and do stuff like that. Oh, hell no. Nah. So you have to find ways to try to keep your money where you only have access to it and you can get to it at your leisure. All right. So that's that. Let's get this going. Like I said, if you're looking for me to come up with figures and all that stuff on what you should do, that ain't me. That ain't my style. I just like to stir the pot, bring up good conversation. So like I said, it's never too soon to start talking about retirement. Many times we go through life like time is forever, and we take for granted putting our finances in place to secure our back end of our life, because we want to enjoy the riches up front, which has me thinking, how many of us plan for the second half of our life? Many of us jump from job to job without establishing any long-term benefits, no life insurance, no pensions, no savings, and may base our finances on Social Security benefits. I'm not here to give you the breakdown on numbers, just here simply to start a dialogue to see what our mindset is regarding how retirement impacts our relationships. First question before we go live: how long have you been at your current job? And y'all can answer that now. And what's your plan for retirement? So Daphne, you said, I know people my mother's age group only have $10,000 life insurance policies and they told me they don't want their kids to get rich off of them. It's crazy. I have several insurance policies on me from my job and individually and on my house. And that's what's up, because I would never want my children to struggle. And I would hope, I understand some people mindset. If you wasn't rich, then you think like, well, I'm not going to set them up. But I think the ultimate goal as a parent is to make your children's life better than yours. So if it happens in the form of life insurance, then so be it. I would hope that I will be around, and I'll be able to create some other avenues that I'll be able to see, what they're going to do with the funds. Well, not those funds, but other funds. So that's why you try to grind hard and do what you need to do. My man Fred, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Helen, thank you for joining tonight. Tamiko, Larry, thank you for joining me in the Counselor's Corner. Tamiko, that woman is doing big things. I'm sorry I used the word good. That just was like a slip up, like a Freudian slip. I meant nothing by it. Daphne said, and life insurance policies on my kids too. That's good stuff. Kelly Renee, thanks for joining. That will be my co-host. I'll be co-hosting Thunderous Altercations with Kelly. So it's going to be a storm in Baltimore next week like no other. And man, oh man, that's all I can say. Valentine's Day. Oh God. But hey Kelly. So definitely I'm looking forward to that. But this retirement stuff is critical. I mean, and like Daphne said, a lot of people in your family that only have $10,000 policies and all that. How much funerals and stuff cost nowadays? That's gone right there. You might not even be able to bury somebody in a box or whatever. And I'm not even thinking more so of the burial aspect. I'm just saying, after you done worked all your life, how are you going to enjoy it? Especially if you're married and you're in a relationship. That's something to think about, because a lot of times people say, well, we wanted to retire together. But after doing research and looking this stuff up, they said that's not the best option to do. Roy Roberts, thanks for joining. Diane Benton, thanks for joining me tonight. And Daphne said, you can't, not with $10,000. That's true. $10,000 may seem a lot if you got it in your pocket for that time, but I'm sure that shit goes by real fast. Life insurance needed. My sister's 47 and has nothing. See, and that's scary. And it's scary because you kind of, when you have that mentality, and maybe I understand some people, that's just not in their budget to be, but at least be able to try to get something. I mean, they have all types of these policies and stuff on commercials and this and that, and you just got to take advantage of at least release those burdens on your family. But because if you're 47 and you don't have nothing and you die, who's supposed to pay for this? And I know some people have that mentality, or cremate me or bury me in a box or whatever. I don't care. I'm dead anyway. But it's for your loved ones that they want, a nice home going. But I'm not really want to, I just know that's one aspect of it. I'm just thinking about, how do you enjoy your retirement, period? How do you enjoy it once you hit that age? We got I like the dialogue. I am right at retirement age. This is Marcia, but I am still working in order to bank my monies once I make my mind to do so. Hey, if you can work and you can still get it, then get it. By any means necessary, bank that money and try to live life. So when you do retire, you're like, man, I'm set. I have no concerns. So I've told my kids that I went to want to be cremated because it's cheaper and just have a memorial service. My mom talked to me about who she wanted at her memorial and when to contact specific people. That's just such a touchy subject, and nobody wants to think about loss, the loss of loved ones. And I'm kind of funny on that. I know it's going to happen, but I try to keep my mind occupied and not think about it, because for the longest I went without any major deaths in my family. And then from 2011, I had a couple, like my grandmother passed, and then my father passed, and then my grandfather passed the following year. Then one of my younger cousins, she had passed in like, I think 2015. So it's been some like hard, very some emotional times with those deaths. But I'm just trying to think, like, what plan of action do we have in place right now? This is the time to start. Let's dialogue, people. It's an investment people take for granted. This is Kelly. I could see it, and try to get it later. And sometimes it's too late. Yeah, true. So you want to try to get put in that work or time early so that you don't have to wait too late. You don't want to wait till you got a terminal illness, because at that point they're not even going to grant you like one of those big insurance policies, because they know that sooner or later you're not going to be living that long. So you have to do it kind of when you're younger and there's no medical concerns. Prime example with that, I'm being transparent, so I'll share, like, with far as my grandfather. I was like, man, like, does anybody got a policy on him? So it was just one of the ones, because of his age. I just said, I think it was like 25,000. Got through all the steps. I mean, that's when he was in Niagara Falls. I was here. So my mother had to kind of oversee everything, had the nurse come out and everything. And because he couldn't sign, and he was getting like dementia, they figured like could be taking advantage of him. But the thing is, and I'm not ashamed to say it, he's born like in the 30s or the 20s. Back in those days, you drop out of school early. I think he dropped out maybe when he was in the third grade. So he didn't really sign much anyway. Most of the time he went somewhere with my grandmother and she would sign it. So, but they didn't put it through. So never had the opportunity. Not that I was trying to cash in on his death, but I was like, the reality is that his time is coming. So might as well get something to kind of lessen the burden, but didn't go through. So Daphne says, my kids were younger. We had our tutoring business where they tutored their peers, and me and my husband at the time tutored the older high school kids. They refuse now to expand Williams Tutoring Group to their college peers. And we have a tax ID and everything. You said they refuse now to expand it? Well, you could kind of elaborate on that, but I can imagine they always got some slick if they're trying to deny that opportunity. Joyce Washington, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So, and I guess one of the things, like I said, when you start thinking about it, if you booed up, or you got a husband or wife, or you getting into a relationship and you're in your 40s, 50s, that's something you have to start thinking about. That is one of the questions that if you're, dating, to talk about, this retirement and this thing. Now, you may say, well, I don't plan on getting married again, so it doesn't really matter. But I think it's still, you just never know. I think it makes for, good conversation to at least start discussing those things. So I have a couple scenarios that I posted. Some of you may have seen it, and I kind of just want to go through those. And I know this one was very similar to a situation that I knew about. So Kelly said the policies back then were not much, and my grandmother is 102 and only a $3,000 policy and it reached exhaustion. They sent her back like we are done over here. Well, they don't want to use it to their advantage and branch it out to tutoring their peers to make money. Well, are you saying your sons don't want to use it? Because I think any financial literacy should be a must in education. Because right now, that curriculum that we got going on doesn't work. Doesn't work for these kids. They want to know about money. They really want to know about money. If you do any activity with them, and trust me, I always like to share my little story. So don't mind me if we're off, because this to me is all relevant. It's all relevant. Don't mind me if I go off on tangents, but I'll just like to share like some stories. And like I said, we just hear this platform is the dialogue and for us to throw things out there. So I give my man Derek Hall a shout out. Thanks for joining me tonight. Kelly said piggyback. She couldn't even get a new policy either. Wow, that's crazy, man. Sometimes these people be cutthroat. Like, you're not paying for it. If somebody gonna pay for it, why not? But they probably looked at the age. Crystal Graham, thanks for joining me tonight. So I was saying these kids want to be educated on money. So prime example, a couple years ago, had a couple, I think they were in the maybe 7th, 8th grade at the time, 8th grade. So they like, I can't wait to, and they're in the guidance, like in the waiting area, the counseling office. I can't wait to turn 18 so that I can move out my mother's house and I can, she getting on my nerves. So I'm like, where are you going to go? And they're like, I said, first of all, to live on your own means you have to have a job. Where do you think you're going to work at 18 that you're going to be able to take care of yourself? I don't know, Mr. Good. I could work like at Chick-fil-A or something. Okay, do you know how much you make at Chick-fil-A? And then you start breaking down how much everything costs. So that led, I had an intern under me. So, we talked about it. I said, maybe we should do an activity. You could do an activity regarding money and stuff like that and finances. So she came up with a little program, gave them like a demographic of, and they chose one and then told them their salaries and stuff. Man, that thing was hilarious. They got so emotional behind that because like one of the young ladies, she was living good, but she ended up, I think, having some unexpected car repairs. And so she's counting her money and she like, dang, I can't afford this. And then she like, I can't even afford to pay my rent. Then we're like, well, maybe you got to go stay with a friend or a family member. So the rest of the group was just like clowning her, but she was like so upset that day. And then I think reality hit her and she's like, dang, so that's why sometimes my mother and my father say they don't have it this week, because she used to think, well, you got paid, but she never understood how you have rent, mortgage, utility bills, got to buy food, transportation. So they need to see stuff like that. That needs to be a class, and they need to see that stuff on a regular basis, whatever, because other than that, they're not going to get it. You said the McDonald's don't cut it. My seniors who think they are working at the local restaurant and grocery store. Charles Searcy, thanks for joining me, Reverend, tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So that's just me. That's a whole nother topic for a different day. So let's look at this scenario. This is the life. James worked 30 years as a Baltimore City police officer and retired this past June. And he has been on the golf course ever since, at least 3 times a week with a few of his other retired buddies, which leaves his wife, Sophia, still working as an office manager at a doctor's office, 7 more years before she is eligible to retire. Originally, when they were younger, they discussed about retiring together one day, but those plans were derailed when Sophia had 2 children back to back and kept her out of work for almost 7 years, where she stayed home and took care of the children. Now James is out living his best life, and Sophia is still working full-time and has a full-time duty as a wife with cooking, cleaning, and other duties. Is James wrong for enjoying his retirement? Is he less than a man for not working out something that his wife can be enjoying retirement with him, considering she made sacrifices because of their children? What are your thoughts? So, couple things, it's a couple questions out there. Feel free to chime in. But also, I asked a question prior to that. How many years have you been on your current job? Total, maybe what industry did you work in? So I'll say for myself, this is, I think, my 15th year in Baltimore County public schools. Damn, I wish they'd have took my 10 years in New York State. That'd have gave me 25, but they don't. So technically, I still would be looking at 15 years more of work. But I have to start thinking about that and being realistic. So if you think about this scenario, what do y'all think is wrong with that situation? Is James wrong? He's out there enjoying his life, golfing with the buddies, probably throwing back some beers, smoking some cigars, and all that, just cooling, and he's having a great time. Daphne said taxes on the house that must be paid. Kimberly, well, I retired early at the industry where I worked. Motto is 30 and out, or you can retire with age plus points, and you can be 55 with points that total 85 points. Okay. So you got out, you put in your 30. Hey, that's all right. Angel, thanks for joining me tonight. Donnie Lewis, thanks for joining. So if you look at that scenario first, again, how many years have you been on your job? But then if you look at this scenario, is James wrong for, I guess when you're in a relationship and you kind of talk about it like, oh, let's come out together. But she ended up having children and stayed home with them so they can, she could get them situated until they got of school age. So now she's like 7 years behind, and he's out enjoying his life. Meanwhile, she's still working full time. And it's probably still, no matter what, even if the kids now, if they're in high school or whatever, shit, you still have to do stuff for them. They're not going anywhere. So that's still a full-time job. You said yes, 30 and a 401k. All right, that's good stuff right there. How many of you have a 401k? How many of you have a pension? Things that you have to think about. You can stop believing in like some of my older people, even like, I'm sure my grandmother, she worked her years at her job, and my grandfather worked his years. I don't know what they had, but they still believed in that dollar and a dream plan when they got older, playing those damn numbers and spending mad money on numbers a day, just hoping to chase that silver bullet and something come through. But that don't happen. It doesn't. So you have to come up with a better plan besides hitting a number. Hicks Cuts, what's up, Kev? Man, how you doing, brother? And you probably thinking like, oh man, David talking like this. I told you I'm a different beast when I get in front of the mic. But that's something you have to think about. So Marcia said, I have 35 years as a federal worker, and at a point I can make all the money I want and still get SSA. So that's why I'm hesitant to retire right now. Life is good, and I'm still able to bank money. And that's critical. What's going on, Kev? Just, doing what I do on the low. And that's a good thing to be able to, the key thing, to bank money, where some people don't have the opportunity to save money because, once they pay everything that they have to pay, there's no room for saving. And then if you do get some people favorite time now, income tax time, more than likely that stuff is going towards back bills, or you go make some extreme purchase that you don't need. You just got furniture a couple years ago. You need new furniture, or you got to get a new, not a brand new car, but a car pay here, buy here, or put down a major deposit, or you got to get a damn big screen TV or bigger upgrade. than what you had before. So, spending foolishly. So we have to be more conscious of how we spend as we get older, because it's going to be some critical times. Y'all better be prepared for y'all boy Trumpster to have a second term. Y'all better be prepared for that. It's another little talking point I had. Many couples retire from work without a true plan, which is a precursor to an early death. Yeah, when you don't have a plan and you end up retiring and you don't make as much as you used to make when you got your regular paycheck, that stress kicks in and you end up with all types of ailments. And like I said, may he rest in peace. Like one of my old teachers that worked at our job, good man, worked all his life, kind of helped to take care of his children, put them through college, and he retired in June. No later than September, he passed away. It's not right, but that's what happened. So he put in all those years of service, kind of just to say, I'm going to stay in. And he went over and beyond his 30 years. I think he might have worked 44 years, but he stayed in to help take care of his children. And then once it was time for him to stop working, he ended up passing away, man. That's not how life is supposed to be. Helen said, live within your budget. Yes, so true. Sabrina Cobb May was, thanks for joining me tonight. Karshawn Allen, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. Yeah, so that's not how it's supposed to go down. Like you work and then 2 months later, you die. Who wants to sign up for that? I know I'm hoping that wouldn't be the case. All right, here's another little talking point. Suddenly retirement doesn't seem like such a good idea when you realize after all these years, the only thing we had to talk about is our careers. And now that's gone. What's next? How would you keep the candle burning? But then again, many of us struggle with that before retirement age hits. So, and that's one of the things when I was reading, they were saying stagger your retirement when you're in a, say, for example, if you're in a long-term like marriage, that one should come out before the other, because you're about to enter a whole nother stratosphere in your life that you never thought about. Think about this. Think about for over 30 something years, if you've been out working and y'all worked opposite shifts or either, different times. She went into work from 10 to 6 or something, 10 to 7, and you work 7 to 3 or whatever. And y'all kind of came in and y'all had, a few hours together. Imagine retiring and y'all both there. Without, now y'all sitting there like a deer in headlights, like, man, what's next? Like, damn, we used to have work to talk about. What can we talk about now? And a lot of people don't prepare for that. Let me see what Kimberly had to say. I didn't have a plan, but I had to retire before I caught a case. But so many people can't retire because that's all they know at the plant. They had to make this guy retire because he had 50 plus years. Yeah, sometimes they have to boot people out. I know one of my fellow counselors, I think this might be like his 51st or 52nd year. And I'm like, damn, he like 74. I was like, I do not want to be that old counselor talking to these kids. And they like, what the hell is this old man talking about? Right now, I'm still a little relevant. So they still listen to me and, still listen to me and still follow my lead. But once you start getting 60 or 70 and you hunched over and can barely get out your chair and all that, you become a joke, because these kids have no respect for, and it doesn't matter if you're black, white, or whatever the case is. You're going to be like the laughing stock of the school. So I don't want to be in that position. Dietrich Muhammad, thanks for joining me tonight. Michelle Drayton, thanks for joining me. Fred said, David, I almost choked on my drink when you said that. No, that's real, Fred. Like, let me tell y'all something. Another story. This is a storytelling segment too. I was kind of petrified to go work in a middle school. I had did 10 years at a college, which I enjoyed it. I was in my element. But it was time to move away from there. They overlooked me on different positions, and I just got tired of, somebody overlooking you, and you qualified, and you were like the heartbeat of the place. So, and you knew the ins and outs and how it ran. You had good relationships with students. So then I went and got my counseling degree, school, my Master of Counseling Education. Then I had got a job in Niagara Falls School District for 1 year, but they didn't give me a counselor position. They gave me one lower than that. So I'm like, man, this crap. But I still worked at the college and was able to teach and do a little advisement. So that kind of made up for the difference. So I took a risk at that. And then, and I moved to Baltimore, and I worked at a high school for 6 years. And then, I worked at a high school a total of 8 years. So I was still in my element with that because it was close, the 11th and 12th graders, they really pushing toward college. Maya Jackson, thanks for joining. So then, something at the high school, a lot of little shady business politics. So my choice, I knew the principal at this middle school, and once she knew I was applying, she already said, I wanted a brother in there. So pretty much you were going to get the job. I knew from the beginning, but I was like, damn, middle school kids. Like that was the work, like out of all different groups, I said college is first, then high school, then I'll even do elementary, but not the middle school kids. Hell no. But now these kids, they funny as hell. Like I love it, whatever. And as far as the kids, not all the politics. So anyways, first couple of days of school, hot as hell in the building, only air conditioned, and like the main office, we had air conditioning in the counseling office. And so I'm like high anxiety, really didn't know many of the kids, they scoping you out. And then we had to do presentations like within the first couple of days, and I'm like, how the hell I gotta do a presentation? These kids don't even know me. So I'm sweating, and I didn't know you should bring 2 or 3 shirts throughout the day if you're gonna be moving around, because in middle school you move around. Like high school, you might sit there, have appointments, and you kind of move at your leisure. With middle school, you up and down stairs, and they calling you to classrooms and stuff. So I was drenched. Had to go in the classroom. Remember, I said these kids have no respect whatsoever. So I go in there with this drenched shirt, and they like, you hear them like, who that? To each other, and they're like, I don't know who that. Then one girl, I always love telling the story, so it's a classic. Then one girl was like, who that sweaty motherfucker? So I heard it, and I'm like, excuse my language, I know I cuss, but I was just like, wow, like it was crazy. Like, damn, like they came out their mouth like that. So it was interesting. Later on in the year, it was a bunch of girls in my office, and then I kind of brought that up and figured out who had said it. But they was like, Mr. Glover, we ain't know you then. You are peeps now, but we ain't know you. So what I'm saying is, like the disrespect. So I'm parallel talking about that. It basically saying I do not want to be that 70-something-year-old person working in the school system. So you have to find a way. Kimberly said, these middle school kids is a trip. I do mean trip. Charles said, good evening, brother. Anwar, hey, what's going on, brother? Thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So to go back to the original point I was saying, so a lot of times you're just used to working. You might have your days off, but now you're in the house with your wife, and you realize things start to get like a little uncomfortable. You're out of your element. You're out of your zone. Like, say, for example, if you don't have a man cave or whatever, and you just have, sometimes people get older and they don't want to purchase an update, a upgrade, and you got some little damn TV on your dresser thing. Then you got the nice big TV down in the living room, and you want to watch Sports Center, but she's trying to watch all the talk shows, and y'all kind of bumping heads behind that, and those are just little things, but this stuff happens. So they encourage people to stagger their retirement, so to let one establish themselves and get used to the retirement routine, and then someone else comes out a couple years later, and that way the other person will have their routine, compared to both of you trying to find a routine, and y'all end up bumping heads, and it end up being a worse situation that y'all start talking about this isn't working. And that's real talk. So you have to think about that. Plus, they were saying that really you should try to stall out your Social Security benefits up until you're like 70, and you'll get a better bang for your buck if someone can do that. At least one, and as far as the couple can stall it out. So just something to think about. Joseph Mallory, what's up, Joe? Thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So Marcia said, it's sad to think that some couples, when the only thing they really had in common were their child or children, and since they have either they're gone off to college or gotten married or moved out, all of a sudden they find themselves being empty nested. And that's true. And then they may not have little to talk about, or find out they don't have nothing in common. Being empty nesters, they have to stay active by doing things such as traveling, attending social functions, hosting parties, and joining other couples, and to make arrangements to have date nights. These are some of the things that could allow them to rekindle their relationship. Great points, and that's definitely what they would recommend, that you do things, plan date nights, and maybe make sure that you have time for each of you to be able to get away and spend with friends. So that kind of gives you the same kind of mindset like spending with your coworkers. What's up, bro? Nothing much, man. Just trying to build my brand and just doing what I do, hosting this platform. And we just, talk about real life stuff. And tonight's subject is about retirement and relationships. How do we function? We all getting a little older, and it's something to think about. But Marcia, that was definitely a good point. So you got to be willing to do those little extra things to make it work. And sometimes, you have people that's just get older and just miserable as hell and may not even have friends. So that would be a big problem if you're dealing with someone and they really don't have no other options or no one to kind of get away and do, and they rely solely on you. But damn, it's a lot of young people who's kind of in that predicament right now, that they don't have nowhere to go, no friends, they don't associate with their families like that. So you're all they have. So you might be out there grinding, working hard, and they're sitting around on their hands waiting for you to come in. Oh, what we got going today? We're already made plans for you. And you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm tired, or whatever the case is. So to make a long story short, find you some interests that you like to do. And where I said, my dad is a retired educator. All he did was hang around Schenectady, New York, and didn't travel or do anything. So, it's vital. And what I always find interested, and I haven't did it, I'm bad with that. Like I usually play basketball on Sundays, and you'll be amazed that like it's guys out there, and that's just part of their routine, that they get up and they come play basketball with the fellas. And some of them dudes, they're like 70 something, and some of them like 80. No lie. And we don't play like the full court length. We play like on the side rounds, but even that's a hell of a run. And we do it for 2 hours. It's 80-year-old men out there still putting in work. And I'm telling you, and strong as hell. Like I said, it was this one guy I think his name Ed, strong as hell, his forearms. But of course, I'm bigger and I weigh more, got more body mass. So he got a little angry. He throwing his elbows and forearms, and he got mad. I put my body on him, posting up. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Yo, dude, if you can't handle this, then you need to retire from playing this, whatever. Because I'm gonna give you that smoke out here. Like, you're not just gonna be throwing forearms at me." Then I had to think to myself, man, this man 80 years old, man. And I have nothing but respect that he could still make it up and down the court and hit shots. So that's crazy. Joseph said, invest your money, find good hobbies, and you have to wait on, and don't have to wait on SS. That's cool. Ebony Swanson, thanks for joining me tonight. Jan Mitchell Vanhoff, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So yeah, so it's little things that you have to do. So for those guys that's older, that's one of the things that they do faithfully. They from 10 to 12, they go play they play basketball, and they're pretty much there every week. Then after that, they'll probably go soak themselves in some what's that stuff called, Epsosalt or something, and then get ready. And some of them still work, like post office people and stuff like that, and then they'll get ready to watch the Ravens game if it's during football season. But I'm always impressed with, and I always say, man, I only hope that at 80 years old I can run up and down the court, because y'all know, and I ain't trying to single out us black people, we don't want to exercise worth shit. We don't want to do none of that stuff, man. And that's why we all bent over, don't want to go to the gym, get on the treadmill or anything. We got to change the narrative on that. And I say to myself, I have to do better. Now, right here, I call my little thing the Counselor's Corner. I got a whole boxing thing here, and I love boxing. I love it. And all I got to do is throw some shorts, some gloves, and just throw punches for around. And that's people like, oh, that's not real exercise. Try throwing punches for 3 or 4 straight minutes, and you'll see how your heart race, and you'll be like, damn, that's some good work. And when I do that, I feel good, and have some music going on in the background. But I've just been getting into a funk that I haven't even put on those shorts to do it. So I got to change that up as well, and start working out, doing that. All right. I think, was it another little scenario I had? Okay, this is one. Change of plans. Listen to this one. Maria's husband, Nathan, is facing a medical issue that will probably mean the loss of his current job. He just told her after his surgery that he was planning on retiring. He has $35,000 in savings, and he is 56, and she is 43. She had worked out a retirement plan based on them both working until their full retirement ages. Now she is stuck trying to pay off a mortgage and make necessary home improvements on one income. Their budget works out on one income as long as they don't have to fix the roof. Rent will cost more than their mortgage. So Maria feels like this is a long time for her to be footing all of the bills, and she works a side job. What other alternatives does she have? What would you do in this situation? So as you see, things change. You have this plan, y'all talk about it, say we're going to come out and retire together. Then suddenly you get older and you face a medical condition. And I think in this scenario, I would hope that, I don't know if it was an emergency, and this must have been a real situation. I seen it in the article. I would hope that he would have told her something beforehand, not after the surgery, and say, oh, I'm planning on retiring. Because you have to have conversations about that when it comes to money. You just can't make no irrational decisions like that without letting your partner go and then jam her up like that. Because she's screwed. If he can't go back to work and really can't do anything because they never said what the medical issue was, and she's 43, she's still young. She still got a lot of good life ahead of her, but now she got to work 2 jobs, and he's sitting around with the 35,000. And knowing some men, he really thinking that 35, oh, this shit ain't going toward no roof. That's my saving. I saved that money, whatever. And it never mentioned his salary or anything. So I'm wondering, was he a job hopper or somebody like that who never really established a pension but was able to save a buck here and there? So that's scary. And again, another thing that we have to think about, that we get older, things happen, illnesses kick in. Sometimes you forced to retire at an early age when you don't want to. You want to work, but your body says, and your illness says, it's not the best thing to do. What can you do? What are you gonna do? So Kimberly said they got kids. Never mentioned any kids or anything, but hey, that's just add more fuel to the fire if they had kids. So now she's got to be concerned about that, unless they're, adult kids, and they'll say, oh, we'll pitch in, mom, or whatever the case is. But we know how that is. As soon as they find a little love interest, they gonna wander off, and they little help. They so damn stingy, they ain't gonna be trying to give off the dime because they want all the latest stuff. So that's only gonna last for a little bit of time, man. So it's crazy. Well, he better help out with something. Yeah. I mean, you would hope he would do something, be, making dinner or whatever. But then again, there's the other caveat to that is, what if he's someone that never had to do that because his mother, he watched his mother take care of his father. She always handled all that, never complained or anything. So now he think he's sitting around, retired at 56, got 35 G's, like he's living life. And we know that 35 G's, he's going to walk right through that. But needless to say, I would hope that he's going to use some of that towards their household or something. But we just got to think about, sometimes men, and I just said, sometimes we're not fair on how we handle things, and we could be kind of selfish, whatever that. And I give y'all women mad props. I might talk a lot of junk to stir the pot, but I'm amazed at how y'all do it, how y'all can pull it all off and without anything. And I've done shows before with like stay home dads and all that stuff. I said, ain't no way I can't do it. But somehow y'all have the ability to navigate through all of that. And a lot of times y'all might not even complain. And when you have someone like that, fellas, you got to hold on to that. And now some on the opposite end, you have some that just always, they cooking, cleaning, and all that, and they talking shit the whole while they scraping a pan or whatever the case is. But I want to give y'all props for being able to do that, because y'all know how to get it done, and y'all know how to stretch a dollar. Where guys, sometimes we have a little arrogance and think like, oh, no problem here. I get it back somehow. I get it back. How your ass gonna recuperate and get it back and you like 65, 70? Your days is heydays is gone, where, if you're younger, you can always say, and you got a job that you can work overtime or maybe work another job, you can kind of make up for it. But when you get a certain age, up in retirement, there's no way that you can kind of recuperate that. So got to think about it. And women, my grandmother used to always say that she always found a way, always. And granted, my grandfather, he probably used to sign that check over to her, whatever the case is, but she dictated the household money anyway. Roger, what's going on, brother? Thanks for joining me tonight. Rochelle, thanks for joining me tonight in the Counselor's Corner. So I said the show was originally from 9 to 10. And I just wanted to kind of put out a couple little scenarios or situations. No, I didn't, I didn't go into, if you were looking like I was going to give you the blueprint again and say, at this stage in your life, at 43, you should be putting away 17% of your income and all that. Nah, that's not me. I take something and run with it, and I see something different and feel that this is something that kind of has to marinate in our heads, each and every one of us, to try to be better. And hey, if y'all have a formula that works, then I feel like we should share it with one another. We got to stop withholding information and not looking out for each other. We're living in some critical times, and we have to do a better job of sharing our knowledge and expertise to work with one another. How the hell else we gonna grow? So with that being said, it wasn't never about that. I was just saying for us to start thinking about it. Like I said, 48 years old, not ashamed to say it. And I say to myself, because I transferred from state to state, technically, that get my 30 in, I'll be 63. Do I want to be 63? No. But am I going to say, oh, that's it. That's it. I'm done. I don't give a damn, whatever. No, I ain't about to you ain't about to give me partial nothing. I need all of mine. And I need ways to make other money as well besides that. So just start thinking about that, and start thinking I never seen so many people, not saying any of y'all, that quit jobs and have no other job to go to. How the hell do you quit a job and you don't have another job? That makes absolutely no sense. And you're like 40 something. So people like that, I'm always leery, who never can establish no good work history, and they all over the place. And damn sure people who can't keep the same cell phone number, and they keep changing. Nah, my ex was blowing it up. I changed my number. Something sketchy there. Something sketchy. I like to be the motto of consistency. I had my people all like, why you still got the 716 number? Because I rep 716. New York State, upstate New York all day long. I had my number for 20 years. So if you used to have it and you're like, damn, what's David's number? Then you're like, oh, God. And you call, it'll be me who answered. I don't do all that changing the numbers and all that stuff, whatever. Be careful who you get your damn number to. That'll probably be the best option. But people change numbers, change jobs and stuff like that, or posting stuff on social media. I'm looking for a job. Anybody got any leads? And you 50. Really? Really? You didn't have enough fortitude or ability or emotional intelligence to walk away and say, man, I need this. I need this job. I need this for my family, or whatever the case is. Got to get it together, people. Marcia said, hoping Maria was able to have her own separate account and was able to bank some extra monies for those rainy days in a way she doesn't deplete her savings altogether. Hicks said, my generation quits jobs with no plan all the time. Yeah, they do, Kev. Yeah, they do. No plan at all. And I give you credit, Kev, man. I'm proud of the stuff you're doing, man. You're a wise dude, man. The move you just made with the barbershop, that's big time stuff. That's big time stuff. That's leader type stuff, risk taker, and I'm proud of you for that one. You know, I ain't gonna say it when I'm in a chair and all that. You know, we like to talk junk about the Ravens and the Steelers, and when you cut my hair, I always fall asleep, and you're like, damn, man, you sleep. But that's my little time to unwind. But I'm proud of the moves that you made, man. That's big time stuff. And where I said, still got my 734 number, my only cell number I ever had. Yeah, you gotta establish a pattern of consistency of doing something, and people just don't do it for whatever reason. And you can that's a good dating question. So when you exchange numbers, ask a person, how long have you had this phone number? I say, I just got it. Well, I changed up my I was with AT&T and they got too expensive. Then I went to Sprint, but I used to be at Verizon's and all that. Bull crap. But I don't like change like that. So even though it might be other better plans. I'm like, man, I know you can take your number with them, but I just like, I don't even feel like going to get a new phone and all this stuff is like going to damn purchase a house or get a new car. You sitting there and you there for hours. I don't have that time to, I don't have that to do. But with that saying, I'm gonna honor your time. I went over it a little bit, but stay tuned for the next series. We're gonna break down these zodiac signs for women, because sometimes, again, I never got into the stuff with the zodiac stuff, but even reading some of the stuff about the males eyes, and some people with that sign, you're like, damn, that's dead on. And even with me, with the Gemini, I'm like, yep. So it's gonna be real interesting with y'all ladies. Some things are gonna be revealed. That's gonna be coming up. Probably gonna start it Saturday night before boxing. Sunday is done, Super Bowl and all that stuff. So y'all ain't trying to hear me on here. So it's gonna have to be Saturday night, probably around 8 o'clock, a little earlier time, because I got to get my boxing in, and then Super Bowl Sunday. That's gonna be those are different festivities. Monty Hedgeman, thanks for joining, brother. Even though I'm about to close out, but stay tuned for my next show, fam. And Gloria Darnell Green, thanks for joining me tonight. So everybody who joined in, who had comments, I appreciate you all. Please share. Once I post it and leave it and you see it there, please share it to your page. Come on, we got to help each other grow. So the more people share, the more things get out there, and you get noticed. So it doesn't take too long. And I know some people are like, I don't want that all on my timeline and get notifications. The hell your ass got to do otherwise. Stop playing like somebody's absorbing all your data and all the stuff like you really care. Share the damn thing, because if any of y'all sent me something and said, please share, I'm on it. And if anybody needed something like, support or something, I got this, I'm selling that, let me know. Inbox me directly, and I'm going to try to look out. That's the only way we can get it done. You said I'm late. Hello. It's okay, Gloria. I'll be back at it. And I said I'll be sure to do it next time, bro. It's all good, man. I appreciate y'all all. So everybody have a good night. Stay warm. Enjoy tomorrow. It's Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Super Bowl weekend. Nothing better than that. Boxing, football. Man, I'm in heaven. All right, y'all. Y'all be good and take care. See you soon. Peace.